everyone, and welcome to another episode of my Woman Who Inspires series. My name is Sreshtha Tewari. I am the director of the Self-Worth Leadership and Empowerment Consultancy. I am also a motivational speaker and wholeness guide. And in this series, we talk about our so-called perceived negative emotions, which persons think are not okay to feel, but they are. And we talk about how these emotions give us messages that may send us to a better place in our lives, a happier place, or even push us to a bigger purpose. Today is a very special day, being the last day of the series, 31 days of amazing, inspirational women from diverse backgrounds. And I am extremely excited to welcome onto the series Paige Ribeiro-Agard. Paige is the co-founder and director of the Ayanna Dyette Foundation for Cervical Cancer. She manages and markets the social media aspect of the foundation. Paige always loved community health. She has a BSc in biology, and she loves giving the youth a voice. She has been involved in many initiatives supporting community development and our youth. Paige, I am so excited to have you on the program. Welcome. How are you today?
Thank you very much. I am great today. How are you today?
I am good. I am extremely excited to talk about such a purposeful outcome of something that I know is extremely delicate and tender. So, Paige, I would invite you now to share your emotional healing journey.
Okay. So, hi, everyone. My name is Paige Ribeiro-Agard, and yes, I am the co-founder and director of the Ayanna Dyette Foundation for Cervical Cancer. But this foundation didn't come from anywhere. This foundation was started in honor of my aunt, Ayanna Dyette, who would have passed away only at the age of 32 in 2018. And just to give you some back history on how it all happened. So I was actually studying in school in Grenada, and I remember getting the phone call about her diagnosis. And she didn't even give me that information. It was my stepdad that called me. And I wouldn't lie to you, in that moment, I wasn't scared. I said, okay, well, it's cancer, yes, but she's going to beat it because it's Ayanna and she is the most fit person I know. She was a national volleyball player. She played both beach and indoor. I mean, this girl exercised every single day. I was like, this is going to be fine. She'll just do treatment. We'll be good. And I mean, I would have messaged her during that period. And for her, because she was always a positive person, we never, I guess, knew the days that were really hard for her or the days that were really bad for her, unless we were spending time with her. But for me, I wouldn't know because I wasn't there. Fast forward to May, and it's time for me to come home from that semester. And again, my step called me to just give me a little warning, Ayanna lost some weight. And I just want you to, be prepared for that. And I mean, I was, because funny enough, I was actually studying cancer that particular semester. So I was very familiar with how the weight loss would look. And I remember walking up these stairs to her room, because she lived with me, and opening the door and literally seeing something under the sheet that just looked like bones. Now, my aunt is extremely tall. So when I say bones, I mean, you're just seeing limbs. Like, but this can't be Ayanna. Like, where's the meat? Where's the muscle? But of course, in that moment, I was like, no, well, your face needs to be normal, because she can't see the fear on my face. Like, she doesn't deserve that. She's already going through so much. But she was sleeping. So thankfully, that part, went through smoother than I expected it to. But from that moment, I knew, okay, we're going to have to work really hard to get you back to where we need to get you. And that process, that journey that Ayanna took during treatment, it was very difficult. I've played nurse She would have had things like the colonoscopy bag. She would have had tubes coming from her kidney. There was just a lot going on. And when I guess the cancer decided, his time to shine, and the doctors gave us those news, that those words that you don't want to hear, there's nothing else we can do. I think that's so devastating to some people, and they don't understand how impactful hearing that can be sometimes. There's nothing else you can do, because sometimes when you are, all your hope is left within the hands of these doctors or the people that are specialized in whatever aspect, and they're the ones that tell you, well, they don't know what to do or they can't do anything else. Again, you feel really hopeless. And it's almost like a battle, like what do you do? And you could really frustrate yourself asking what you can do when your hands are literally tied. And I mean, most people in this in this instant would rely on like their religious backgrounds and their spirituality and start to speak about faith and miracles and that type of thing. So sometimes that can work or that can buffer, but when it all comes down to it, the reality is the reality. And this is the situation that we're presented with. So, right, we got the news and it was time to go to the hospice. Now, anybody who knew Ayanna, bubbly spirit, I wouldn't lie, because this young lady is entering the hospice and is still convinced that she's going to leave. And I mean, everybody knows the reality of a hospice. And for her to literally is talking to us about, she'd leave in about a week's time. I mean, for us, it was kind of like, does she know something that we don't know? Or, how, but of course, we are going along with it. But day by day, she definitely was deteriorating. And watching your family member deteriorate in front of you is heartbreaking. I go back to that word of feeling helpless. I think that's so frustrating. Feeling like your hands are tied, or your hands are tied. Your hands are tied. Sometimes you even feel like your feet are tied at times and you can't even move. But the energy around that time, or around the trauma, I guess, was very different, very special. And I think it was like that for a reason. Ayanna's wish was for us to share her story so that other people would not experience this. She wanted her story to be known so that no other woman would die from cervical cancer. She wanted her story to be known so that no other family member, or no other family rather, have to go through what we went through. Her story actually came out the day she passed. The universe has a very weird way of doing things. And this is, her story in the newspaper, that is. But that really helped my family and I push through, knowing that we are going to, in fact, save lives. Because we didn't know what we were doing when we said we're going to start a foundation. Like, who are we to start a foundation? We don't know anything about this. We are a little old family. Truthfully, before Ayanna's diagnosis with cervical cancer, I did not know how highly prevalent it was in Trinidad and Tobago, and far less on a global scale. When I say did not know, absolutely no clue. And that was a big shock for me, because when I read the statistics now, it is unbelievable that we actually don't know what's going on. But this thing is so highly preventable. So we, as a family, we are so passionate about saving lives, educating people so that we can prevent cervical cancer, so that it can be eradicated.
Right. Wow. It's such a, my heart goes out to you, because I have had a similar experience, not with cancer, but just seeing a family member in the hospital deteriorating. And when you feel that in our case, we never got those words that there's nothing you can do. But there was a point in time when I started to question, is she going to come out? And before I ask you about the emotions, do you want to share a little bit of Ayanna's story just for the benefit of the viewers?
For sure. So basically, Ayanna was a 32-year-old volleyball player, national volleyball player. She would have been diagnosed with cervical cancer in 2018, January of 2018, and passed away in July 2018. So her survival was very short. That process and that journey was a lot for her. She went through multiple surgeries, a lot of back and forth from the hospital. But Ayanna was a fighter. And I think that really, really helped us get through it, or get through our process, because her spirit lives on, as uncanny as that sounds, or weird. I do not think her dying, rather, was the most devastating thing that could have happened for us. Because as a family, it did bring us a lot closer together, because, I mean, we lost our young person. And like, for me, I grew up thinking Ayanna was my sister because we were so close in age. My mom literally treated her like a daughter. So the connection within the family was extremely strong. So, I mean, losing Ayanna was a huge part for us, but it did where it brought us together. And it's also now making us pave a way where we're going to save lives, and we've already started saving lives. And I think that Ayanna, she knew what she was doing by saying that she wanted her story to be shared. I mean, I know we thought that she was going to survive and stuff, and maybe this story would not have been as impactful if she was still here today, because she's a survivor. But the point is, she didn't make it. She didn't.
Yeah, well, she didn't make it in body. Exactly. She didn't make it, but she's still around you and guiding you. And it's amazing to me, you spoke about her health. So this is a volleyball player, somebody who's extremely healthy. Yes. You're not thinking, and I could identify with not thinking anything is wrong with you, because I also teach fitness. I'm a Zumba instructor. And I really thought nothing would ever be wrong with me because I'm fit, physically fit. I was wrong. So, and to get a diagnosis like that, and within a short space of time to have it progress so rapidly, as someone who just loves someone, I can only imagine how frightening that is. Even if you understand the background, even if you're a doctor, you're studying medicine, even if you're reading up on it, seeing it on a page and then seeing it happen in front of you to somebody who you absolutely and totally love, like a sister. I can only imagine. And my heart actually goes out to you for that. And you spoke about how you could tell that you're already a very strong person, because you spoke about how, you're preparing yourself, you're thinking about her first. And before you went in the room, you made sure that, well, she was sleeping, but you made sure that she didn't see how scared you were. And you all were wondering what she knew that you all didn't know when you were going into the hospice. But maybe she just knew that she would be free. She was getting out. We don't know. But I want to ask you so you said that she wanted her story to be heard.
Yes.
But a story appearing in the newspaper and moving on to start a foundation and that drive to save lives is two completely different things. So would you be able to share your journey in actually establishing the foundation, and what kind of work the foundation does, and how you guys are keeping her memory and her legacy alive?
Great. So, as I mentioned before, I mean, we didn't really know what starting a foundation and like, what did it take? So immediately for us, it was, okay, we want this to be as legit as possible, because we see where it is. As you said, we're doing things that are purposeful now, and this has a purpose. So let's figure out how we're going to do this. So basically, we spoke to the right people. We would have gotten a lawyer and all those aspects to figure out the legitimate side of it. But for us, it came down to, okay, what aspects of cervical cancer are we going to focus on, because foundations can be started for so many reasons, right? Whether it's to give financial support, emotional support, to educate, to do what are we doing? And a big part of this foundation is education. And education, because as I said before, prior to Ayanna, I didn't know. So I know that there are a lot of other people out there who also don't know. And we know that the education isn't there about how we can prevent cervical cancer. So we said, okay, listen, we have to really focus on prevention and education, because that's the first step. Once we get the awareness out there, and then we're able to have an activation plan, which is the preventative aspect, eradication is possible. And I mean, thankfully, the science is there. So we have had studies, that come out and speak to the preventative aspect. So that would be things like your pap smear, the HPV vaccination, your HPV screening. Those things are here for a reason. They are saving lives. We do have, thankfully, in 2021, we can finally say that the HPV vaccine reduces cervical cancer by 90%. And this study was done in the UK. So for us as a family, our drive really comes from knowing that we're saving lives. And I'm going to share something that took a little toll on us, but in a different way. So as we know, basically, because we said we're going to focus on educating and prevention, we would have done things like school tours or school outreach, basically. So we'd have educated a couple secondary school children, because that's the prime age, about cervical cancer and about HPV and how they can prevent it. We would have also done talks to different organizations. We'd have been invited to like meetings and that type of thing. But coming to the preventative aspect, which would have been like our pap smear, which we realized doing the education aspect, a lot of people actually do not know what a pap smear is, or they've never gotten one before. Lots of women are out here, they've never experienced a pap smear before. And for many reasons, they either don't know how to get one, they don't know about the pap smear, they may not be able to afford it, lack of transportation. There's so many reasons, but we wanted to mitigate those reasons, because it's, as far as I'm concerned, regardless of all those reasons, you still do not deserve to not be checked and to not be healthy. Like, at the end of the day, your health is your wealth. And without that, we really don't have anything. So for us, we decided we're going to give free pap smears to the community. And we started a mobile screening unit with Trinidad and Tobago Cancer Society. And we were able to give out some free pap smears, and it was going great. But then, of course, COVID came, and that really puts a damper on stuff for us, because, well, as you can rightfully know, that, things, it just wasn't the same. We weren't able to go out to the communities the same. Cancer Society hasn't been able to start back up the mobile units as yet because of things. So we had a little damper there, but we knew that people still need help out there. And during that COVID period, we decided, okay, we're going to help some patients, because the patients are the ones that are probably going to feel it most during this time, because I can't even fathom dealing with the pandemic and going through your surgeries and your treatments, and you have to get to the grocery, but you shouldn't really expose yourself out there. You're already in an emotionally draining place. You might be physically drained. Like, how can we help them? So we decided, okay, let's do some grocery hampers and really try to give that support to them, because at the end of the day, most of these women were mothers, and we know how hard it is raising children, having to manage groceries. Some of them live far places or in rural areas that may not have access to everything that they need, whether it's because of transportation or whatever the case is. So we tried to help in that aspect. So a lot of them would have gotten some assistance with transportation to their treatment and that type of thing. And we got 5 patients, and in less than a year, we've lost all 5. Every single one has died.
Okay.
And now I imagine I'm tearing up now speaking about them, because for me, I feel like we didn't get to save them. Like, we didn't reach them in time. I actually always tell my team when we have a loss, that this is motivation for us. 1 second, just wipe my tears properly. And I mean, I'm crying because I guess I'm just overwhelmed. But these women, they were all, the point is, they were other women. Like, the point of the foundation was because we wanted to save lives. And I just felt like, but we didn't get to save these. Like, you know, we really thought, like, I mean, not that we were doing anything treatment per se, but we got an attachment to them. There were people that we knew. These women were fantastic in their own way. I had somebody as young as 25 years old who passed away. That's my age. So for me, connecting with her was also very different. And her death really took a little bit more on me because we were a lot closer. We call them our buddies. We called it our daily buddy system. So she was my buddy. But she was in remission and doing really well. So it really took a shock when, you know, cancer came back, and I got these, and her death happened this year, like last month. So, you know, it really was, or is rather, like, this can't be happening. And for me, immediately I was like, I refuse to allow another woman to die. I refuse. We have to continue educating, because we have, and imagine these are just the people that we happen to get in contact with. This is not what's happening on a daily basis or by the minutes. We just happen to have these 5 people. And to think that all these families and all these kids are now left without a mom, and that space was just less than a year. For me, it literally gives me as heartbreaking and devastating it sounds. It literally fuels me, because I am like, this is not okay. This is not okay. Just so that people in Trinidad and Tobago know, cervical cancer is actually the 2nd leading cause of cancer-related death among women in Trinidad and Tobago. And in 2020, over 600,000 women on a global scale were diagnosed, and over 300,000 died. But this is a cancer that we're speaking that is highly preventable. So it goes without saying, my emotions fueled with the fact that this is such a obvious thing that's out here, but yet nobody's doing anything about it, or we feel like nobody's doing anything about it. It literally drives me. And I've always been somebody, once I like something or I'm passionate about something, I get extremely passionate. I go all in. It's all or nothing. So it is all or nothing. World Health Organization says that by 2030, you know, the plan is for eradication of cervical cancer. And based on the science, it's looking possible. We just need all parties on board. And by all parties, I really just need the women. We have to take care of ourselves. We really have to take care of ourselves. Like, stop putting ourselves in the back burner. I mean, society has taught us that, you know, sometimes taking a break is wrong, and you're supposed to take care of the family, but you can't pour from an empty cup. If you do not have good health, and that's physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, it's because health is a holistic thing. It's not going to work out. It's not going to work out. And physical health is also, as much as it's external and we can look beautiful on the outside, because don't get me wrong, I am all for self-care. I love when women say they're going to the spa, they're going to get their nails done, they go do their hair. I love it and I'm for it. But that same energy has to go into our health on the inside. And because I am begging you, or I am pleading, if we do not do what we have to do now, we're going to get more stories like Ayanna, and I don't want that. I don't wish it on anybody. It's not something nice to go through. And if we can't prevent it, as a foundation, then we're going to prevent it.
Yeah, that's such a noble cause. And I really do want to honor you for taking in, doing what you can during COVID. So you decided to take in the woman and you spoke about how you want to save lives. And I just want to tell you as one human to another, saving a life is not only making sure people live, but it's also just providing compassionate support maybe in their last days. And you definitely would have done that. Because a lot of us as humans, we really just want to feel connected. We want to feel that someone cares for us and we want to feel that someone understands us. And so saving a life for me is what you do every day, whether or not the person continues to live in this physical body or not. But you are really doing your passion and your purpose. And it is such a noble cause and a really wonderful example of how something so painful could turn into something so beautiful. So Paige, before we end, I just want to ask you one more question. What message do you have for women out there?
Feel how you feel. Allow every feeling that comes with every journey that you go through. But as you feel what you feel, understand that every emotion has a purpose. And as difficult as it may seem in that moment and in that time, I promise you 2 seconds later, you're going to realize exactly why you felt the way you felt. Do not disregard your feelings, but use them. They're there for a reason. Every emotion is valid, whether it's anger, whether it's sadness, whether it's disappointment, happiness. We should treat all our emotions the same because they all have a purpose.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Paige. It was such a wonderful experience talking to you. And I feel such a wonderful end to this series because you really summarized what I want out there so much in terms of our emotions. Thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for putting yourself out there, all in the hope that we can help other women, in your case specifically, who are going through that cervical cancer diagnosis, hoping to even prevent that diagnosis and just being there for someone through an ailment that is extremely difficult to go through. So Paige, again, thank you so much for coming on the series. And to my audience, thank you immensely for following me for these 31 days, for listening to all these women who inspire. If anyone resonated with you, feel free to reach out with them. And I am going to have all of Paige's information in the description box below, including information in respect of her foundation. So if you would like to engage her for anything related to her foundation, please feel free to do so. Thank you so much again, everyone. And hopefully I will see you again soon. Bye.
Bye. Thank you again.